Give us an overview of the Journeymen Collective because I got a little bit excited at this whole topic and I didn't really ask you in terms of the context of how it started, how it came about.
The collective started about 6.5 years ago. As Robert said earlier, we experienced grief and depression from the death of my mother, who lived with us. And when Robert came home from his journey, I saw quite the shift. I was looked at him and going, mushrooms can do this? It was like, but of course, it's more than mushroom. It was the
Yeah.
guided presence of the shaman that we were working with. So I spoke to the medicine man and I said, listen, I'm going through grief and depression and I really can't shake it with all the tools I have in my toolkit. What can I do? And he says, come on a journey. So I said, okay. It was May 5th. We did a celebration for life with my mother. May 6th was my birthday. And I always say it was the best birthday gift one could give to oneself is to go on a journey. And hands up, it was like earth has shattering them. The earth moved, the sky moved, everything opened up. Is oh my God, is this what life is really all about? And it was an aha moment. And I had visions within my journey to say, this is the path that we're supposed to be both on together. And what did that look like at the time? We both didn't know. I shared it with Robert. I said, I had this vision that Mother Gaia was there and she handed me my shaman's walking stick and said, you're good to go. And I'm like, good to go where? And she's going, you're good to go on your own and to lead the path forward in this work. So I wrote all this in my journal. I shared it with Robert. He said I had a similar vision. He saw more of the quintessential mushrooms. And then we both looked at each other. So where do we go from here? So we spoke to our medicine man and we had a conversation and we worked with him probably 6 to 8 months. We say beta launching. From there, we had friends that were executive coaches were almost our first solo clients, we would call them. And after their journey and their aha moments, they looked at us both and says, we think you have something here to move forward with. And can we assist you and develop this program? So we worked with them and they worked with us and we developed the Journeyman Collective. The Journeyman Collective came out of the forest, the name, and then it was combined. We do journeys. We're men, but we don't just work with men. We work with all humans. So the collective is every human that we work with is part of the collective, and it's always growing.
I would like to add in there too is that through our training, one of the things was like, okay, what is our mission? What are we doing here? What is this going to be? It was essentially weaving all the different strands of Gary, weaving all the different strands of Rob into what is known as the Journeyman Collective. So the scientific realm, the spiritual, the metaphysical, the business, and the embodied part of how do we actually use and apply the information that you're introduced to in a psychedelic journey. And one of the things that we were shown was to work with the people that are the founders, the high achievers, the movers shakers, the CEOs, the executives, the people who are at the top of their companies as a function of that. When someone moves from business to conscious business, because every human on the planet for the most part gets up in the morning to go to work on something or in something, what we saw was this top-down structure, the hierarchical model. When a leader becomes conscious, the model moves from the top down to the center out. Because the leader is more conscious, they can sense with their awareness what's going on. They'll ask the more vulnerable questions because they have allowed themselves to go deeply within into their vulnerable shadow spaces. When they see something going on with an employee, a human being that works for them, they will have a greater capacity to ask a different question based on what they're sensing. They can ask the question, what's really going on here? You're saying this, but there's another piece that I'd really like to know and really would like to support you in bringing to resolution. If we can have more leaders, more business moguls, visionaries who are actually consciously aware, who are ever evolving their consciousness and grounding it into form, that's business is one of the biggest avenues how we can actually change and make an impact. And when people recognize that, hey, my human meat suit, the biosuit that I am, is actually composed of earth. It is earth. I am earth. So I'm connected to the earth in a different way. I'm starting to attune to my heart center, my solar plexus power center. And when those are coming more online, it's the gut brain, the heart brain, and the brain working in unison. When there's people using those main innate systems, that's also where things will change, and companies will pivot, people will pivot, and they'll amplify their business in a different way. They'll change directions, that the company becomes, again, more innate and more in tune. If we have all of the people in our company who are passionately engaged in their work, purposely engaged in their work, then the last P, the profits or the prosperity, takes care of itself.